Welcome to another game in our Peasant series featuring Nancy playing Goblins and myself playing Blue-White Soul Sisters. I keep a hand of Island, Plains, Emancipation Angel, Aven Riftwatcher, and 2 Ponders. Nancy keeps a hand of Mog Conscripts, Mog Flunkies, Goblin Cohort, Goblin Patrol, Gem Palm Incinerator, and 2 Mountains. I start by playing Island and casting Ponder, rearranging the top 3 cards and drawing a card. Nancy plays Mountain and casts Goblin Cohort. I play Plains and cast Soul's Attendant. Nancy plays another Mountain and casts Mog Conscripts. I gain 1 life from my Cleric, and then Nancy attacks me for 2 with her Goblin. I play Plains and then cast Aven Riftwatcher, gaining a total of 3 life. Nancy lightning bolts the Riftwatcher, gaining me 2 life when it leaves. Nancy casts Goblin Arsonist, gaining me a life, and then attacks me for 4 with her creatures. I play Ponder, and then cast 2 Soul Wardens, gaining me 3 life. Nancy plays Mountain and casts Mog Flunkies. I gain 3 life, and then Nancy attacks me for 5. I Ponder, rearrange, and draw. I cast Lone Missionary, gaining 7 life. Nancy casts Goblin Patrol, and I gain 3 life. Nancy attacks me, and I take 8 damage. I cast Emancipation Angel, gaining 3 life when it enters. I return Lone Missionary to my hand, and then recast it, gaining 7 life. Nancy casts Goblin Arsonist, gaining me 3 life, and then cycles Gem Palm Incinerator, dealing 6 damage to the Emancipation Angel and drawing a card. Nancy attacks with all her creatures. I block Goblin Patrol with the Missionary position. I cast Seagate Oracle and gain 3 life. I play another Soul Warden and gain 3 life. Nancy casts Goblin Arsonist and I gain 4 life. Nancy then attacks with all her creatures. I block Mog Conscripts and then take 7 damage. I play Soul's Attendant and gain 4 life. Nancy attacks and I block Mog Flunkies with Seagate Oracle. For 4 damage, I momentary blink Seagate Oracle, exiling it and then returning it to the battlefield. When it comes back, I gain 5 life, and I put a card into my hand. I take 3 damage from unblocked creatures. Post-combat, Nancy casts Arc Trail, targeting 2 of my clerics. I momentary blink 1 of them, gaining me 4 life when it comes back. The other Soul Sister dies. I cast another Soul Warden, gaining 4 life and pass the turn. Nancy attacks me with all her creatures she can attack with. I again block Mog Flunkies with Seagate Oracle. Before damage, I flash back momentary blink from my graveyard, targeting Seagate Oracle, but in response, Nancy lightning bolts it. I take 3 damage from unblocked creatures. I pass the turn. Nancy attacks me for 6 damage. On my turn, I Ponder, rearranging and drawing. I play Terramorphic Expanse. Nancy casts Goblin Bushwhacker Kicked, gaining me 5 life, and then attacks with her team. I break Expanse at the end of Nancy's turn to get an island. I attack Nancy for 5 with the team of Soul Sisters. Post-combat, I play Lone Missionary and gain 9 life when it enters. Nancy casts Mog Conscripts, gaining me 5 life. Nancy attacks and I block Mog Conscripts with Missionary and take 9 damage. I cast a Johnny's Pridemate, gaining 5 life and adding 5+1 counters to the cat. Nancy casts Goblin Cohort. I gain another 5 life and another 5 counters go to the Pridemate. Nancy attacks with everything. I block Flunkies with Pridemate and take 8 damage. On my turn, I journey to Nowhere at the Goblin Cohort and attack Nancy with all my creatures, dealing her 17 damage and winning me game 1. Nancy goes first game 2 and keeps an opening hand of Mog War Marshal, Desert, 4 Mountains, which would be an iffy hand if it wasn't for her 7th card, which is Sparksmith. I mulligan and start with a hand of Ninja of the Deep Hours, Ponder, Terramorphic Expanse, Momentary Blink, Souls Warden, and Terramorphic Expanse. Nancy plays Mountain. I play Azorius Guildgate. Nancy plays Mountain and casts Sparksmith. I play Island and Ponder, trying to get a journey to nowhere to deal with the Sparksmith. Not finding one, I just decide to throw Soul Warden out there. Nancy shoots the Cleric, dealing herself 1 damage with the Sparksmith, and then plays Desert and casts Mog War Marshal, making a Goblin token. I play Terramorphic Expanse and cast Lone Missionary, gaining 4 life. During Nancy's upkeep, she decides to not pay the Echo cost for the War Marshal, and with the Goblin token trigger on the stack, she shoots the Missionary with Sparksmith, dealing herself 2 damage and killing the Missionary. Then Nancy gets a Goblin token. Nancy casts Mog Flunkies and attacks me for 1. I get a Plains at the end of Nancy's turn with the Expanse. I play Plains and cast Ninja of the Deep Hours. Nancy shoots the Ninja with the Sparksmith, going to 13. Nancy attacks me for 5 and then casts another Mog Flunkies. I cast Soul Warden and then play another Terramorphic Expanse. Nancy plays Mountain and then shoots the Soul Warden for 5. Nancy attacks for 8 damage and then casts Goblin Arsonist. I use the Expanse to get an Island. I play Terramorphic Expanse. Nancy Goblin Grenades me, sacking Goblin Arsonist, dealing me a total of 6 damage. She then attacks with the rest of her creatures to win her game 2. I go first for game 3 and keep a hand of 2 Plains, Aven Riftwatcher, Soul Warden, and 3 Ajani's Pridemates. Not so bad. Nancy keeps a hand that is almost as good of Mountain ×2, Goblin Grenade, Lightning Bolt, Arc Trail, Goblin Bushwhacker, and Lightning Bolt. I run Soul Warden out there on my first turn. Nancy Lightning Bolts it. I play my first Ajani's Pridemate, which Nancy Lightning Bolts. I Ponder and play my second Ajani's Pridemate, which Nancy Arc Trails. Nancy then casts Goblin Patrol. I play another Pridemate and then play Terramorphic Expanse. Nancy attacks me for 2, I get a land with the Expanse. I attack with the Pridemate, but before damage I ninjutsu Ninja of the Deep Hours into play, dealing Nancy 2 damage and drawing a card. I play Azorius Guildgate and then recast the Pridemate. Nancy casts Goblin Bushwhacker and attacks me for 5 damage. I cast Aven Riftwatcher, gaining 2 life and pumping the Pridemate. I attack Nancy for 5 and draw a card. Nancy starts to make her way back in the game by playing Sparksmith, but will it be too late? Nancy then Goblin Grenades the Pridemate by sacking Bushwhacker. I attack with both creatures. Nancy blocks the Ninja with the Patrol and takes 2 damage in the air. I Ponder, Shuffle, and then draw a card and play a second Riftwatcher, gaining 2 life. Nancy just passes the turn. I remove Vanishing Counters from my creatures and attack Nancy for 4 and then cast Lone Missionary and gain 4 life. Nancy shoots the Core Monk at the end of the turn, dealing herself 1 damage. Nancy continues to not draw goblins and just attacks me for 1 with Sparksmith. I kill a Riftwatcher on my upkeep and gain 2 life. I attack Nancy for 2 with the Bird Rebel something, dealing her 2 damage and then cast Lone Missionary, gaining 4 life. On her turn, Nancy sparks Lone Missionary, going to 3 and then casts Mog Conscripts. I gain 2 life when the second Riftwatcher dies. I cast Soul Warden and then Ponder. I cast a second Soul Warden, and in response, Nancy cycles Gem Palm Incinerator, killing the Soul Warden so that I don't gain any life. Nancy, the renegade cop that she is, sparks my other Soul Warden, going to 1 life. Nancy then casts Goblin Arsonist and a Mog War Marshal, getting a Goblin token. Nancy attacks me for 2 with her Conscripts. Failing to draw more gas, I just pass the turn. Nancy pays an Echo cost on her upkeep and then casts another Sparksmith. Nancy attacks for 6. I journey to nowhere, Mog Conscripts. Nancy attacks for 5 and then plays Desert. I draw more land. Nancy attacks for 5 again and plays a second Desert. I cast Core Skyfisher, clinching me the game unless Nancy can come up with a piece of removal. Nancy casts Goblin Arsonist and then casts a Goblin Grenade, initially thinking about blowing up the Skyfisher, but worried about a blink effect, just throws the grenade at me instead, dealing me a total of 6 damage when the Arsonist dies. Nancy then attacks all out, and I am unable to stop all the damage, winning her the game and the match.